Nigeria Aviation Minister, Festus Keyamo says the ministry has directed for the aviation staff who released the video footage containing the aspect of an Ibom Airlines passenger, Comfort Emmanson or Bob, seen in an indecent appearance with her chest sexual organs exposed after the passenger shirt was torn by an Ibom Airlines staff, while security operatives were seen in the viral video dragging the aggrieved passenger out of the aircraft following an act of confrontation between the passenger and Ibom Airlines hostesses, which one of the hostesses blocked the right of way of the passenger and prevented the passenger from disembarking from the plane. And after countless warning to the airline passenger to leave the road, the passenger went physical with the hostess by allegedly slapping her on the face, which the confrontation with the hostess apparently led to the alleged destruction of the plane divider cotton, which Ibom Airlines valued at $2,500 as stated in count 5 of the 5-count charges the police filed against the passenger at Ikeja Magistrate Court in Lagos State. The Aviation Minister, Festus Keyamo, who described the behavior of the passenger as unruly, said, although the airline staff is right to video record the event of the passenger's behavior for the purpose of legal action, but it is totally unacceptable for the staff to release part of the video that exposed the passenger's nakedness, especially her breasts. Details of the minister's statement reads verbatim below. Enough is enough. Reading the Riot Act on Aviation Safety and Security in reference to the case of unruly Comfort Bob on Ibom Airline and related incidents. Earlier today, we again woke up to viral videos of a female passenger on Ibom Airline, now identified as Comfort Emmanson or Comfort Bob, who went berserk and physically assaulted both the flight crew and the ground staff. The incident took place yesterday, August 10, 2025 on Ibom Airline flight number Q153 from Uyo to Lagos at about 14:54 hours. Ibom Airline has since issued a statement to provide some context to the effect that the whole unfortunate incident arose because of the refusal of the passenger to switch off her phone during takeoff as required by extant international civil aviation regulations. Consequently, in the last few hours, I have been speaking with the Commissioner of Police of the Airport Police Command, the DG of the NCAA and his team, the MD of FAAN and her team, the COO of Ibom Air and his team about the incident. Apart from the indefinite flight ban imposed on the said unruly passenger, both local and international, by the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, the police has promptly arraigned her this morning at the Ikeja Magistrate's Court for criminal offences and remanded her at Kirikiri prisons as she could not provide adequate sureties in court. I have attached the charge sheet and remand order for clarity. We also note the scuffle that took place between the unruly passenger and ground personnel before she was eventually subdued. This was because of her uncooperative attitude. Whilst we support the filming of her recalcitrant behavior as evidence to prosecute her, what is deplorable is to release such evidence containing indecent exposure to the public to ridicule her. That is totally unacceptable to us. We will not fold our arms and tolerate the debasing of womanhood. I have therefore directed that whoever released that part of the video containing the indecent exposure amongst the staff should be singled out and adequately sanctioned. I have also directed that the airlines must continue to train and retrain their staff in public relations and how to deal with potentially explosive situations in order to defuse them promptly or nip them in the bud, except when it becomes inevitable. I have also directed a joint security meeting between relevant agencies next week for better coordination of security measures in situations like this or similar ones we witnessed recently. For genuinely aggrieved passengers, there are clearly laid down remedies to address grievances. The Consumer Protection Directorate of the NCAA has consistently advertised these remedies, and there is no point trying to take the laws into one's hands that may lead to dire consequences. We will continue to apply equal sanctions available to us in aviation on any such erring passengers, that is lengthy flight bans, and report the matters to other law enforcement agencies to do their bit within their powers. We have reported that a careful study of the viral video involving the Ibom Airline personnel, Lagos Airport security operatives and an aggrieved passenger, Comfort Emmanson on board the airline plane on Sunday indicated that while the enraged passenger was being dragged off the plane by three men, who held her two hands and legs, suspending her a little bit on the air, a lady putting on Ibom Air corporate clothes who was behind the camera lens could be seen in the video to have approached the passenger at the door point of the plane while the passenger was about to be taken out, apparently dipped her hand towards the waist part of the passenger, untucked the passenger shirt from the trousers, grabbed and pulled the passenger's shirt towards her head, and in the process, the passenger shirt got tore and the passenger's chest, sexual organs or private parts were completely exposed. The action of the Ibom Airline staff appeared to be deliberate, as the airline female staff was not part of those dragging the passenger off the aircraft, and after the female passenger's body was exposed, the Ibom Airlines female staff never joined or assisted the security operatives to drag the passenger off the plane. This indicated that the motive of the female staff of Ibom Airline was solely to remove the passenger shirt and expose the aggrieved airline passenger to ridicule.
Madam, I beg come on for make I pass. Everybody that leave the aircraft. Come on for make I pass. Now that's the wahala. I want to go out. And here hostess is standing on the way.
Hostess who are connected, bringing you the news in a more digital way.
A careful study of the viral video involving the Ibom Airline personnel, Lagos Airport security operatives and an aggrieved passenger, Comfort Emmanson on board the airline plane on Sunday indicated that while the enraged passenger was being dragged off the plane by three men, who held her two hands and legs, suspending her a little bit on the air, a lady putting on Ibom Air corporate clothes who was behind the camera lens could be seen in the video to have approached the passenger at the door point of the plane while the passenger was about to be taken out, apparently dipped her hand towards the waist part of the passenger, untucked the passenger shirt from the trousers, grabbed and pulled the passenger's shirt towards her head, and in the process, the passenger shirt got tore and the passenger's chest, sexual organs or private parts were completely exposed. The action of the Ibom Airline staff appeared to be deliberate, as the airline female staff was not part of those dragging the passenger off the aircraft, and after the female passenger's body was exposed, the Ibom Airlines female staff never joined or assisted the security operatives to drag the passenger off the plane. This indicated that the motive of the female staff of Ibom Airline was solely to remove the passenger shirt and expose the aggrieved airline passenger to ridicule. The video of the passenger's partial nakedness, especially her two breasts completely exposed due to the apparent action of a yet-to-be-arrested and prosecuted female staff of Ibom Airlines, has since gone viral, with some pornographic channels already updating their channels with the partial nakedness of the Ibom Airlines passenger. According to Punch newspaper, Comfort Emmanson, the passenger accused of assaulting airline officials aboard an Ibom Air flight from Uyo to Lagos, has been charged in court and remanded in Kirikiri Correctional Center in Lagos. Tunde Mashood, Special Advisor on Media and Communications to the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, SAN, confirmed the development in a post on his official X handle on Monday. The more reason the flying public should be more careful. The unruly passenger on the Uyo-Lagos bound Ibom Air, Miss Comfort Emmanson, has been charged to court and she's now cooling off in Kirikiri, Mashood wrote. Ibom Air, in a press statement on Monday, said that Ibom Air confirms that on Sunday, August 10, 2025, an incident occurred on board our Uyo-Lagos flight involving a passenger, Comfort Emmanson, whose conduct posed a serious threat to the safety of our crew, passengers, and aircraft. Shortly before takeoff from Uyo, Emmanson was instructed in line with standard aviation safety procedures to switch off her mobile phone. She bluntly refused to comply until the pilot in command made an announcement, after which a fellow passenger seated beside her took the phone and switched it off. This action prompted a verbal tirade from Emmanson. The situation was eventually calmed, and the flight departed as scheduled. Upon arrival in Lagos, Emmanson waited for all other passengers to disembark and then proceeded to confront the purser who had earlier instructed her. She walked up to the unsuspecting purser, stepped on her, forcibly tore off her wig, removed her glasses and threw it to the floor, and used her footwear to assault her. She slapped her several times, and when the other cabin crew member tried to intervene, she slapped her too. She then attempted to forcibly remove a fire extinguisher to use as a weapon, an act that could have damaged and grounded the aircraft. By this time, the pilot in command had alerted airport security. Before security could arrive, the purser, as seen on the viral video on the internet, prevented the passenger from leaving the aircraft until security arrived. The arrival of Ibom Air security personnel did not deter the passenger as she attacked him as well, lashing out violently at both Ibom Air and FAAN security. She was then restrained and removed from the aircraft by force. Even after disembarking, she continued to assault both Ibom Air and FAAN security staff and even slapped the ground supervisor. The passenger was removed from the ramp and taken into custody by FAAN security and handed over to the Nigeria police force for further investigation. Ibom Air has since submitted a report on the incident to the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority and placed a travel restriction on Emmanson, who will no longer be permitted to fly on any of our aircraft. Ibom Air reiterates its zero-tolerance policy towards any form of unruly or violent conduct that threatens the safety of passengers, crew, or equipment. Such behavior will be met with the strongest possible response.
Hostesses who are on bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Management of National Youth Service Corps under the leadership of Brigadier General Olukunle Nafiu has given reasons why a serving Nigeria Youth Corps member, Ashie Rita Agwemaye, was denied NYSC discharge certificate that could have enabled her exit the one-year mandatory program after she completed the one-year paramilitary service to her nation as a new graduate, and, according to a statement posted and made available by NYSC on Sunday, with no name of the authority responsible for the press statement written or mentioned in the statement, the NYSC said Corps member Rita Agwemaye's discharge certificate was withheld and her service year extended by 2 months following her alleged absence or failure to attend the April 2025 NYSC biometrics clearance at Etiosa Local Government Area Secretariat, and the month stated by NYSC was barely few days after the Corps member had cried out loud in the month of March 2025 over the apparent increasing high rates of hunger as a result of rising costs of living in Nigeria, and as such, she described the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as a terrible president. In a swift reaction to the reason given by NYSC, Rita Agwemaye's lawyer, Barrister Anibahe Efyoung, while answering questions from Channel's television program presenters on Monday morning, said, the statement issued by the management of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, on its decision to extend the service period, and withhold the certificate of national service of Corps member Ashie Rita Agwemaye alias Raye does not represent the truth of the matter, saying, on April 7, 2025, Rita was physically present at the local government secretariat for the head count and clearance, but the NYSC official at the local government level deliberately refused to attend to her, even after 6 hours waiting, during which she was asked to go back and queued up on the line repeatedly. The NYSC official still refused to attend to her, and thereafter, on April 11, 2025, the Corps member went to meet the NYSC official and begged her to allow her perform her April 2025 biometrics clearance. The NYSC female official refused and asked the Corps member to leave. This, Amnesty International said the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, must rescind its decision. The Amnesty International described as arbitrary and outrageous, saying, NYSC allegedly used bureaucratic tricks to extend the Corps member national service year over the government's unacceptable intolerance of dissenting voices, with former Nigeria Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, describing the NYSC action as impunity, and as such cautioned the government against subjecting everything to politics. And on Monday morning, the former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, issued a statement and said, In our country today, hunger and poverty are not just distant statistics, they are the harsh reality that millions of our people face daily. Recently, the United Nations stated that about 34 million Nigerians will face acute food insecurity, and about 63% of our population, which is about 133 million people, now live in multidimensional poverty. Inflation, even with the suppressed statistics, is nearly 30%, while unemployment and economic mismanagement have nearly wiped out our once vibrant middle class. Families who once lived stable lives are now slipping into poverty. Omiyele Sowore, the founder of Sahara Reporters News Media, said he was ready to stand beside the corps member and escort her to collect her NYSC discharge certificate last week, but the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu prevented him by thus unlawfully detaining him at the police station. In quotes, Sowore said, "It is with deep sadness and renewed outrage that I address the ongoing injustice against Rita Agwemaye, Raye. Nigeria's National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, has seized her discharge certificate because she criticized the Tinubu regime over economic hardships. I was fully prepared to stand beside her to help her receive her NYSC discharge certificate. However, the criminal Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu regime unlawfully detained me in Abuja this past week. This regime thrives on intimidation, repression, and silencing the youth. We had promised to fight for her justice, and that promise remains unbroken. We will not stop until we achieve victory, not just for Raye, but for every Nigerian denied their rights by an oppressive system. We must not forget that Raye's courage and uncompromising stance compelled the authorities to increase the monthly allowance for her colleagues to 77,000 nairas. This significant improvement was won through her sacrifice, and it is an injustice of the highest order that she continues to be denied what is rightfully hers upon completion of her service year. We will not abandon her. Her fight is our fight. The struggle continues until we win. We reject the NYSC's spurious position in its entirety. Youth Corps member Ashie Rita Agwemaye Raye's case could not and should not be dismissed as a mere biometric clearance issue. This was not about paperwork. This was punishment in retaliation for her public criticism of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's disastrous economic policies. Silencing dissent is not service to the nation. It is a service to tyranny. We stand with Raye. We will continue to fight against NYSC until the injustice is corrected. Revolutiono. NYSC in the press release had said that the NYSC management wishes to clarify misleading information circulating on social media regarding corps member Ashie Rita Agwemaye, state code number 24B 8325. Contrary to false claims that she was denied a Certificate of National Service, CNS, due to critical remarks about the government, this assertion is entirely unfounded and false in its entirety. Rita is among the 131 corps members whose Certificates of National Service, CNS, were withheld for valid disciplinary reasons. Specifically, Rita's service year has been extended by 2 months for failing to attend the April 2025 biometrics clearance, a decision that aligns with the NYSC bylaws. It is important to note that this extension is a standard procedure and not unique to her case, and the principle of equal treatment was only applied in this case. The NYSC management thus urges the public to approach this matter with understanding, as extending service for non-compliance is a long-standing tradition within the NYSC and should not be politicized. The NYSC scheme remains committed to discharging its mandate, in line with the dictates of the Constitution. Nigeria is ours. Nigeria we serve. Former Nigeria Vice President, Atiku Abubakar said, "What manner of impunity is this? Everything should not be subjected to politics. I hope that Ashie Rita Agwemaye's NYSC discharge certificate is not being withheld because she had the courage to complain about the economic hardship under the President Bola Tinubu-led administration. It is unacceptable that the young lady, who had served her country without queries, should not have received her National Youth Service Corps certificate 1 year after passing out. The appropriate authorities should take urgent steps to ensure that she gets her discharge certificate." Amnesty International in a press release said, the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, must rescind its arbitrary and outrageous decision to deny Rita Ashiye, widely known as Raye, her NYSC discharge certificate upon completion of a year of national service. Using bureaucratic tricks to extend her national service shows unacceptable intolerance of dissenting voices. The flagrant decision to withhold her certificate may not be unconnected with her comments on social media on the widespread economic hardship as a result of President Bola Tinubu's economic policies. It is perfectly within her right to express discontent peacefully. Instead of punishing her by withholding her NYSC certificate for her opinions on rampant inflation, the authorities should prioritize addressing the country's escalating economic woes. The Nigerian authorities must stop responding with abuse of power and intimidation to individuals and groups who express dissenting opinions, in utter disregard for the Nigerian constitution and international law. Holding and voicing dissenting views is not a crime. In March, Rita Ashiye faced threat to life and violence for her viral TikTok video criticizing President Bola Tinubu's government over unprecedented economic hardship that plunged millions of people into abject poverty. Since May 2023, series of economic policies introduced by Nigerian government have been undermining the ability of people on low incomes to secure their right to adequate standard of living. Millions of people in Nigeria are increasingly unable to meet the costs of education, food and healthcare. No one should be punished for expressing dissenting opinions. Authorities have obligation to uphold and respect the right to freedom of expression, without discrimination. Former Governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, in a detailed statement on Monday, said, "In our country today, hunger and poverty are not just distant statistics. They are the harsh reality that millions of our people face daily." Recently, the United Nations stated that about 34 million Nigerians will face acute food insecurity, and about 63% of our population, which is about 133 million people, now live in multidimensional poverty. Inflation, even with the suppressed statistics, is nearly 30%, while unemployment and economic mismanagement have nearly wiped out our once vibrant middle class. Families who once lived stable lives are now slipping into poverty. But this is not just ordinary. It is as a result of incompetent leadership without capacity and compassion, who are not interested in putting the Nigerian people first in their actions. Other nations have faced similar challenges and turned their fortunes around through disciplined leadership, sound economic policies, and a total commitment from the leaders to invest in human development and pulling their people out of poverty. A recent example is what is happening in Argentina. In Argentina, over 52% of its population lived in poverty by early 2024 according to the World Bank, with millions of Argentines unable to meet basic needs. Inflation was above 200%, and economic confidence had collapsed. Yet, within 2 years, through decisive action to cut waste in governance and prioritize economic stability, the newly inaugurated president was able to cut down the poverty rate to 38.1% from 52% in just 2 years, and extreme poverty fell to 8.2%, with inflation just around 2 to 3% monthly. As of 2025, the urban poverty had declined to 31.6%, lifting millions of people out of poverty. Investor confidence grew and the economy began to grow. The people now see real improvements in the daily lives. Both Argentina and the current Nigerian leadership assumed office in the same year, and this proves what I have always stated, that 2 years may not be enough to change a nation with a 100% turnaround, but it is more than enough to kickstart the transformation journey that will change the fortune of our dear country, with the people witnessing real and genuine change, but only if the leadership is honest, focused, and committed to the people. Nigeria can work. We can reduce hunger and restore dignity to Nigerians. But this will not happen while corruption and criminality dominate our governance. Our nation requires leaders who will put the people first, manage resources prudently, and stand firm in rejecting corrupt practices. Nigeria will work, but only if we, as leaders, commit to tackling corruption, cutting the cost of governance, and focusing on critical areas of development like education, healthcare, and lifting the people out of poverty, just as other nations have done with remarkable results. A new Nigeria is possible. We had reported that after the Nigeria-Biafra Civil War, the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, was established on May 22, 1973 to give the youths the opportunity to leave their parents and stay alone to contribute to the betterment of the West Africa country, Nigeria. Interestingly, a few days ago, one of the serving corpers, Ashie Rita Aguamaye, went to the market in Lagos State to buy foodstuffs, but she was shocked that the prices of foodstuffs in the month of March have again increased far more than they were previous months. Apparently faced with the heat of passion, Aguamaye took to social media to call on the youths to unite and defend the country from total economy collapse, saying it was her first time to leave her parents and start paying domestic bills alone, adding that the money she spends on transport is more than the monthly salary NYSC is paying her, begging the youths to stage a 30 days non-stop challenge protest to make the country president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, she described as a terrible person to be alive to his political and institutional responsibilities of making cost of living reasonably okay for people to afford, stressing that some Nigerians are pretending to still be rich whereas the bad economy has pushed them into poverty. This, Reno Omokri, former presidential spokesperson who have been living abroad since 2014, reacted and said that there is no country in the world where a paramilitary official like the corper is permitted to criticize the government.
She didn't participate in.
Thank you for having me. I think this is a matter that Nigerians who have followed this case since March, when it started, closely would be able to make reasonable deductions. Now, let me start by saying that the statement issued by the management of the National Youth Service Corps yesterday is quite unfortunate. It betrays the very ideal behind the establishment of the NYSC. In their statement, they claim that Raye is being punished and penalized in compliance with the bylaws of the Corps, and that our service period has been extended for 2 months, and her certificate of national service withheld because she missed or was absent from the biometric clearance for the month of April. But the truth of the matter is that not only did Raye Rita Aguamaye present herself for clearance in the month of April, specifically on the 7th of April, she also attended the CDS, which took place on the same date. Because if you are saying that a corps member did not undergo clearance for a particular month, one would want to know what was the reason for missing a clearance. They haven't said anything in that regard. And the simple reason is because what the NYSC has said publicly is completely false. This lady presented herself before LGI, the local government inspector of Etiosa local government, one Mrs. Veronica Abele. This is the same woman who not only ignored her, initially she claimed, oh, go and join the queue, go to the back. She complied, of course. It got to her turn again, she will send her to the back again. This lady spent 6 hours. Ryan spent 6 hours hoping, pleading, begging, almost prostrating to be cleared. She refused to clear. And guess what? She sees the clearance letter. Because if you are saying someone has not been cleared, for you to be cleared as a corps member, many of us went through this scheme. For you to be cleared, you must have a clearance letter from your PPA, without which even the NYSC cannot clear you. That is even if you show up. I have corps members who are serving in our firm, and every month I have to sign their clearance to say that, look, these individuals have worked, They have reported at their PPA for the month under reference. Please attend to them. That is what happened. She went there with a clearance letter from her place of primary assignment. Mrs. Veronica Abele collected the clearance letter and then pretended as if she did not want to attend to her at that time, as I said. When she kept pleading, the woman now started verbally attacking her. She persisted. She then told her she was not going to clear her.
I did not get my NYC certificate.
Ask her to get out. That she would not attend to her. And Raya said, look, Madam, that please, assuming I have done anything, by the NYC bylaws, which is correct, I am supposed to face the court disciplinary committee.
It's been a long time I went to the gym and I just
that infuriated the woman the more. That who are you to even make a suggestion about what the bylaw says? I don't know how to leave. What was she supposed to do after 6 hours? This is after she has seized her clearance letter. She sent her away. On the 11th of April, Raya went back to Mrs. Veronica Abele's office.
To be very honest, if not for my family,
this is few days after the date for CDAs and clearance. Beg her, pleaded with her, please, claim me for the month of April.
Or should I say people?
She said, no, I don't have a problem with you. Okay, but nothing can be done now. We have finished monthly clearance. This is 11th of April.
Did she bring all this to your notice at this time in April?
I'm a lawyer. I'm privy to these things I'm telling you. I'm privy to these things I'm telling you.
As far back as April?
Of course, and let me make it clear to you.
Hostesses who are connected, bringing you the news in a more digital way. Hostesses who are connected, bringing you the news in a more digital way.